This video is a real treat. I'm going to show you how you can achieve really expressive lines in Collagraph printing. And I'm going to show you how to do it using a magic tool that is absolutely brilliant for creating really expressive lines. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this mini print. As you can see, the lines are quite unusual for etching or collagraphy. And the way I achieved them is by using this grinding tool. You can see in the video description information you need about this tool. It has 3 different settings, USB operated, and it has lots of different ends. I used the end with a really sharp needle at the end. I will also show you how to create this really colourful fluorescent background for the print, so you don't start with a blank page. Hope you enjoy the video. I made this sketch a little while ago and it really inspired me to do a print. I thought it would really lend itself to creating a print. So I thought I'll use this grinding tool and I will make a collagraph. So I've got a Enviromount board, which is a mounting board with a plastic coating, so it's shiny. And the reason why I'm using a grinder here is because it creates really unique marks. It would be really difficult to create these marks with a dry point needle or a knife, scalpel knife, craft knife, because the grinding tool is rotating the needle. You're a little bit out of control, so your mark making is kind of a little bit more interesting, I think. It's not so even, or you're not so in control, and this is why I really like using this grinding tool as my way of creating dry point. So after creating my branches, I've just done a little horizon line, and now I'm actually going to do these straight lines. So I'm going to use a dry point needle here and a ruler to create the foreground pattern I've got in my sketch. So I'm kind of recreating the sketch a little bit, but also making it slightly different because it's also it's a print, it's a collagraph, so it will be very different. So these marks will create a way of trapping the ink. So this is gesso, and I'm adding gesso at the bottom here because I want this area to be darker than the area above it, and it's a matte acrylic medium, so it will trap ink, and I want the lines to continue through it, so I'm just completing them, scoring them over the gesso to make sure they are not obscured by the gesso. So I now will need to create a pink background on my paper. So I just have masking tape around the size of my collagraph plate, and I'm using a fluorescent high flow acrylic paint by Golden. Just a thin layer because I actually do want the paper to soak the paper, and I want the paper to absorb the ink as well. So once dry, I will be able to place this in a water basin and get this paper nicely soaked through so I can print on my press. And I've created several of those because obviously I want to create a few prints. So now I'm applying Intaglio printmaking ink here, which is for a specific ink for printmaking. And after applying it with an old credit card, I'm just wiping it off with Scrim. And whatever gets trapped by the scores and the gesso will remain on the plate. It's good to get rid of the ink at the other side of the plate so you don't get sort of blobs when you print as well. So as you can see, that dark area for gesso is showing. I've rolled some dark green ink unmixed as well, as I wanted this area to be slightly different color. And I'm just wiping a little bit more with a cotton bud here just to create lighter areas for creating sort of foreground textures. Just blending it in here with a bit of scrim. And sort of reapplying ink and wiping it off just to get the good balance. I have got here some Prussian blue and white Intaglio Printmakers ink rolled over to create sky at the top. I mixed it on a plate and rolled it over. And just doing a little bit of blending with a scrim and wiping just to create kind of monoprint-like textures. So once soaked, this one's got uneven edges because it didn't quite work out, but most of them have got even edges. Can't probably see them very well, but I'm placing my plate on top of the wetted paper, and here I've got a big reveal. So this was my first one, and that's why I used the ragged edges paper, because it was a bit of a test, this one, but it worked out quite nicely actually. I was really pleased with it. We've got some really nice crisp lines, and that fluorescent pink poking through the sky is really rather pleasing. I really like that. So I was really pleased with it, and I decided to go for more. I've got a few of those wetted papers with a fluorescent block in the middle, so I was able to make quite a few prints of those. Wiping off differently, applying ink differently, and rolling over sort of different shades of blue, or rolling over a little bit more blue or less of blue, just to experiment and see. Because you can see sky here is a little bit more translucent as I've watered down the ink a little bit. Not watered down, so I didn't add water. It's oil-based ink. I'd added some wiping compound. And this was the third one. I think in this one I've added slightly thicker, more intense blue, as I wanted to create a more intense sky. And I've sort of rolled that blue ink over slightly unevenly. I wasn't too precious about how well this blue is being rolled over, because I like the pink background poking through and giving me this lovely texture. So here you go. As you can see, that blue is a lot more intense. I actually liked that one the most out of all of them, and used it to work further with. And then there was a fourth one. There you go. Again, a little bit different. So it's not really additioning, it's kind of creating, because the monoprint on top is creating quite different variations of the same plate. So I picked this one. This one was my best one, I think, and I created a little moon at the top, which was made with a stencil, and I just had a little stencil with a circle inside, and I just monoprinted with a little bit of cling film using white ink on top. I didn't actually put it through the press. I just literally pressed this bit of cling film through the stencil just to create a little moon on top. Thank you for watching. I have all the description and all the materials that you could that have been mentioned in this video in the description of the video. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me. Thank you for watching.